Yes, good afternoon all. Now it's audible.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So again, welcome you all. After a long period, we are again meeting with our academic purpose. Now, in this current semester of your third year, semester one, I'll be getting you subject called as Hydrology and Water Resource Engineering. So it is a course Hydrology and Water Resource Engineering. Now, before starting to this particular course, as we know that our university has set syllabus for each and every subject. So these are your first sem subjects: hydrology and water resource engineering, course code 301001. Now, as per the syllabus, marks are concerned. So in sem 30 marks and sem 70 marks. So it has a oral, basically 50 marks. Then for this oral, we have list of assignments that we will be performing. So all are the assignments, nothing but the numericals to be solved in this hydrology and water resource engineering. So total it carries 150 marks. So theory plus practical. So total three credits for this hydrology and water resource engineering. Now coming to the list of references or reference books. So these particular reference books are also available at the last of your syllabus of hydrology and water resource engineering. So I suggest that these are 5 to 6 different books which are very good for our syllabus is concerned. And apart from these particular 6 books, so I suggest that this engineering hydrology by K. Subramaniam and irrigation engineering by Garg. These two books are very good and nice, or what we can say easy to understand. The wordings are particularly in these books are given in for the hydrology and water resource engineering. So these are the reference books for the subject. Now, the first unit or unit number one is regarding the introduction to the subject, that is introduction to hydrology. Then in hydrology, we have one important phenomena or important law that particular we know that it is a water cycle or hydro cycle. We have studied this water cycle or hydro cycle in our school days, in our 11th or 12th physics, right? So this water cycle or hydro cycle, this is a very important part in unit number one. And depending upon this water cycle, there are different components, mainly the precipitation. So the general term we use for precipitation is the rainfall. That is a very common word. We use a rainfall. So rainfall is nothing but it is a precipitation or a form of precipitation. In this hydrology and water resource engineering, instead of rainfall, we call it as a precipitation. So there are different forms of precipitation, and rainfall is one of the form of precipitation. Then there are abstractions, that means some losses in the precipitation or during precipitation there are losses. So those losses are the abstractions, and a further part of this is a stream gauging, that is how to measure the discharge of a river, that is stream gauging. So this is entirely a brief scene of a unit number one. And so far as the course is concerned, that is our course name is hydrology and water resource engineering. So in outcome based education, that is every subject or every course is having some outcomes. So those outcomes are called as course outcome, or in short CO. So the CO or the course outcome for this unit number one is this: students will be able to explain precipitation, its measurement, and infiltration abstraction of precipitation with stream gauging. So this is This will be the course outcome when the unit number 1 will be over, this entire unit number 1. So you will be able to explain what is precipitation, how to measure the precipitation, and what is infiltration, and what are the abstractions of precipitation, and also what is stream gauging. So this will be your outcome of this unit number 1, that is course outcome for unit number 1. So we'll start with the first point, that is introduction to the hydrology. So hydrology, in short, a simple definition or the meaning of hydrology term is it is a science. So hydro means water and logy means science. So it is a science which is related with water or science of water. Then further, how this is basically defined. So it is a science that deals with, now these words are very important, occurrence, circulation and distribution. So whenever you are defining the term hydrology, it is the science of water in which the occurrence, circulation and distribution of water. Now where this particular water is found, it is found on earth and earth's atmosphere, right? So you can note down this simple definition of hydrology, that it is the science of water which deals with occurrence, circulation and distribution of water of earth and earth atmosphere. So, so the water that is available in the on the earth, and also it is available in the earth's atmosphere. So this water is studied with its occurrence, so where the water is occurred, so how it is circulated and how further it is distributed. So in short, this is the term hydrology. So occurrence, circulation and distribution of water of earth and earth atmosphere is studied in this particular subject. Now while studying this hydrology, we need some prerequisites, or we need the study of other different subjects. Now what are those particular other different subjects? So those are also the allied sciences, also called as allied sciences. Now the very first subject or the allied subject necessary to study hydrology is called as meteorology. Now everyone, we know that what is meteorology. In daily news we hear about the meteorological aspects or the climatic conditions. So meteorology is nothing but it is very related with the climate or the climatic conditions. In meteorology, we study the temperature, we study the humidity, we study the rainfall, and also other climatic factors. So this study is called as a meteorology. Then the second subject is nothing but we have studied geology in our second year level. So that is the geology. It deals with study of rocks and minerals, right? So geology is also plays a key role in studying the hydrology part. Then the third allied subject is statistics. So it is the basically branch of the mathematics where we study the different statistical parameters such as standard deviation, coefficient of variance, etc., etc. So this is nothing but it is the statistics. Then the further part, as we have studied chemistry and physics, those are our core or the base of our engineering. So chemistry and physics is also necessary when we are dealing with water. So physical parameters or physical properties, chemical properties of water. So all these are covered in chemistry and physics. And the very important, the fluid mechanics. So fluid mechanics 1, in fluid mechanics 1, we have studied the properties of fluids such as density, specific gravity, viscosity. So all these are the relating properties of water which we have studied in fluid mechanics 1. Also in this current semester, in this running current semester, you are studying the fluid mechanics 2. So some part of fluid mechanics 2 is also useful, or application of fluid mechanics 2 is there in this hydrology and water resource engineering subject. So this is the definition and what are the allied prerequisites or what are the allied subjects necessary to study this hydrology subject we have seen. So moving to the next part, this hydrology subject is classified under two subdivisions. That is, first is a scientific approach that is called as the scientific hydrology, in which the study is mainly focusing on the academic aspects of the hydrology or the scientific approach of the hydrology part. And second, which is related with our aspect, which is related to our concern, that is engineering hydrology, or it is also called as applied means application oriented. So engineering hydrology or applied hydrology, which is a concern for us, that is engineering applications are more in this, or in day to day practical life we require the study of engineering hydrology. So this subject is related with, morely related with the applications, the engineering applications, or the applied hydrology part. So in this subject, engineering or applied hydrology, we deals with estimation of water resources. That means to to find the quantity of water resources. It may be a running river, it may be a reservoir, it may be a particular a small lake, etc. So to estimate the water resources, that means we have to find the quantity. We have to estimate the quantity of water resources. Then in second, the second application of this engineering hydrology is to study the process such as precipitation, that is nothing but it is related with the hydrocycle. Then the runoff is related parameter with the discharge of any flowing stream, any flowing natural stream, that is called as a runoff. So the discharge part. And evapotranspiration and their interaction. So evapotranspiration is a group word, combined word of evaporation and transpiration. In further part, we will discuss more about this word evapotranspiration. And the third application is the problems related to study the flood and drought situations. So nowadays we see these particular problems related with the natural part, that is flood in some areas. Simultaneously there will be a large flood, and in some areas there will be a total dry, that those are called as droughts. So such situations are studied. These are the problems which we can find the solutions using the hydrology part. So all overall in this hydrology, we go with these three applications: estimation of water resources, then we have to study the process of precipitation, runoff, evapotranspiration, and the third part is the flood related or drought related study problems, or what strategies, what troubleshooting problems you have to solve in this hydrology part, using this hydrology part. Okay, so scientific hydrology and engineering hydrology, these are the two subdivisions or classifications for hydrology. So mainly we focus on this engineering hydrology. And moving to the introduction, we'll start the introduction of the hydrology subject. So as we have discussed, hydrology deals with the occurrence, circulation and distribution of water of earth and earth atmosphere. So this water is mainly found in the atmosphere, that is atmosphere means it is related with meteorology, that is climate. So the study of atmosphere including weather and climate. Then the surface water hydrology, that is the water is occurred, or the flow and occurrence of water on surface of earth, that means rivers, that lakes, reservoirs, etc. The water is found on surface. And third, as we all know, the water is also inside the ground, that is the flow and occurrence of groundwater, it is called as a groundwater. So the water available in the atmosphere, it is related with meteorology. Then water available on surface is called as surface water hydrology, and the water which is inside the ground, it is called as a groundwater hydrology, or simply hydrogeology. So geology plays a key role to find the groundwater. that is inside the ground. The water is available in these three different forms: meteorology, that is in the atmosphere, surface water hydrology, and hydrogeology. So this particularly, it starts with the term called as water cycle. So we have many times gone with this particular word, water cycle, hydro cycle, or hydrologic cycle. So the meaning is same, it is a cycle. Cycle means it is a continuous process, never ending process, right? So this particular hydro cycle or water cycle, in this the word is water. So water can occur in three physical phases. As we know that there are three states of matter: solid, liquid, and gases. So water is found in all these three phases, or is found in all these three physical parameters: solid, that is snow or ice; liquid, that is water; and gas is nothing but those are vapors. So depending upon the environmental conditions, so the water is found in a solid. So where the environment is cold, the water changes to solid form. That is, it will become snow or ice. Then if the environment is humid, that means hot, so the water is in a liquid form, and further it will evaporate when the temperature increases, so it will become a gaseous form. Therefore, the water will occur in all three phases: solid, liquid, and gases. So it will quickly change under the environmental conditions. So depending upon environment, that is meteorological aspects are very widely depend in this particular situation. So this is the water distribution. Now the water, how the water is distributed, or what is the percentage of water that is available on the earth. So far as we consider earth as 100% area, so the larger area is covered by the oceans, right? So the oceans are the largest reservoir, holding about 97% of earth water. So oceans, the water that is hold, those are having the largest reservoir, those are considered as largest reservoir. So 97% of earth's water is in the ocean, that is salt water or salty water. Now the remaining, out of 100, 97 is ocean water, and remaining 3% is called as a fresh water. Now if we further divide this 3%, so 78% of this 3% is in the form of ice. So this 3%, this particular 78%, it is found in Antarctica. That is particularly in ice form Antarctica and Greenland. So majorly North Pole, South Pole, those are the Antarctica regions, or those are the ice regions where 78% of this fresh water is in a form of ice, that is solid form. Then about 21% of this fresh water is in a form of is in a form of groundwater. So it is stored as a groundwater. Now how this particular groundwater reaches, etc. So we have a special unit to study this groundwater. So it is stored in a sediment and in rock where there are cracks or faults. The water is stored in these particular forms below the surface of the earth. So 21% is groundwater, 78% is ice, and now so less than 1%. So this is a very important statement. Rivers, streams, and lakes together contains less than 1% of fresh water on the earth. So we have started with this 97% of water. So we have ended with only 1%. Now this particular 1% is in the rivers, streams, and lakes, right? So therefore, the water management part comes here a very important plays a very important role, that to manage the water available water resources. Now we understand the importance of water, that only 1% of water is in the rivers, streams, and lakes, which is directly related to our day-to-day need. So there may be many uses of this particular water. So we have to utilize this water very effectively, very economically, as it is a limited water resources, natural water resources. So therefore, the subject hydrology and water resource engineering is very important to contribute this 1% of water, right? So this is the statistics related with the water available on the earth surface. Now we'll start directly with the water cycle or hydrological or hydrologic cycle. Now we know this particular word water cycle. Now what is this hydrocycle or water cycle? So it is the fundamental concept in the hydrology. So hydrology starts with this water cycle. Now according to the National Research Council in 1982, they have undergone a definition, a perfect definition for hydrocycle or water cycle. What is that definition? The pathway of water as it moves in its various phases to the atmosphere, to the earth, over and through the land, to the ocean, and back to the atmosphere. So it is a cycle. So therefore, it is a path or it is a way of water. So moving with different phases of atmosphere to the atmosphere. The various phases we have discussed: solid, liquid, and gases. So it will move to the earth, over and through the land, and ultimately it will join to the ocean, and again it will come to the atmosphere. So this is a never ending process. So this cycle has no beginning or no end. So therefore it is called a cycle. So it is a continuous process. So therefore the hydrology cycle is very important, or it is the fundamental concept in the hydrology. So this is a simple pictorial view of water cycle that we have studied in our school days, in our college, initial college days. So the water cycle, as we all know, that the water cycle will start with the source. Now, what is the source? So the source is here the solar energy, right? The sun. So because of this particular energy, the first parameter, the first component of this hydrocycle is evaporation. So the evaporation will start because of the radiations, the solar radiations. So from where this evaporation occurs? So evaporation occurs from the water bodies. So these water bodies may be lakes, rivers, stream, or also the ocean. And some part of this particular moisture that is available on the soil surface. So that will evaporate. So the evaporation will start. Then further the condensation and formation of cloud will happen. Then with this particular cloud, when it comes in contact with cold region, the precipitation will occur. Again this particular water will come on the earth surface. So it will flow, it will run over the surface. Again it will join to the river, and the river will ultimately join to the ocean, right? So continuous, this is particular a cycle. This particular cycle is a continuous process, right? Then further, for our academic aspect, or for our academic purpose, a detailed hydrological cycle is shown here. So you can draw this particular sketch. This sketch is very important. So the components in hydro cycle, those are shown here. Initially it was a particularly a hydro cycle. This is also detailed pictorial view of the hydro cycle, and the different components are detailed shown in this particular figure. Now this hydro cycle, as it will start with the solar or sun radiations. So the first component is evaporation, evaporation from ocean, evaporation from soil, evaporation from reservoir, right? Evaporation from water surface, and also there is some evaporation from precipitation. That is the rainfall, if it is occurring, so some part it will again will be evaporated because of the solar radiations, because of the temperature. So evaporation will occur. Then condensation of clouds. Then the cloud will move, that is movement of the cloud. So when it will come in contact with cold region, so there is a precipitation. So in the form of snow or in a form of rain, so the moisture will again come to the earth surface. So this water will run, that is called as a runoff, surface runoff, or it will infiltrate inside the soil and it will join to the groundwater. And there is a particularly, this groundwater is again somewhere it is uh, connected to the ocean. So some part of this groundwater will again contribute to the ocean. So this is again a cycle, detailed hydrological cycle view. So evaporation, condensation, formation of cloud, precipitation, and again there are some evaporations. Now, apart from these words, here we see another parameter in hydrocycle that is called as transpiration. Now, this transpiration is related with the vegetation, or it is related with the vegetation cover, that is leaves, plants, etc. So from these particular vegetation cover, leaves or plants or trees, so some part of water will get evaporated. So that evaporation from the vegetation is called as transpiration, right? So this is a transpiration. So it is a like of evaporation, but it is from the vegetation cover, that is the green cover. Then the subsurface flow, that is called as the groundwater flow. Infiltration is one of the again component in the hydrocycle. The water will infiltrate through the soil and it will join the groundwater table. So further percolation is another word. So the deep infiltration, deep percolation of the groundwater, right? And the surface runoff is nothing but it is the running water run off. It is the running water over the surface. So from over the surface, the water is running and it is joining to this small river or it may be a small stream, etc. Right? So this is the overall hydrological cycle and the different components in the hydrological cycle. So again, we'll be discussing now what are the components. So the first component in hydrocycle is nothing but the evaporation. Then you after evaporation, condensation, formation of cloud, then the part precipitation will come, then runoff will come, then infiltration will come, so then transpiration will come. So these are all the components in hydrocycle. Now, what are the applications? So why this hydrology subject or hydrology is important? Now, what are the applications? As we know that it is related with hydro or the science of water. So every parameter which is related with water, that are the applications of this hydrology. Now, why we require water? So we require water for drinking, for industry, and for irrigation purpose. That is for agriculture purpose. So the water is supplied for drinking through pipelines, for industry again through pipelines, and irrigation through the open channel flows, that is canal or canal network. The water is provided to the agriculture part. So for this entire water supply scheme, to design the water supply scheme, we require the study of hydrology. Then second, for power generation. As we all know, we can generate the power from water. That is called as hydropower generation. So using the water, the running water or the kinetic energy of water, we can generate the electricity or we can generate the power. That is one of the application of hydrology part, that is hydropower. Then for it is also used for cooling purpose. In some of the industries, in some of the factories, we require steam energy or sometimes we require cooling towers. So for that purpose, we require the cooling water. Then the third part, the large projects, very large projects such as dams. In dams, we have to store the water. There is a reservoir to store the water. There is a spillway part, etc. So all the component or structures related with water in a large dam projects. So to design this particular part, dams, we need the application of hydrology. Then the reservoir comes. Reservoir means storage of water. Then the flood protection. So in some cases in northern India, so the mainly the rivers, all the rivers are perennial, 12 months flowing river. So in summer season, the snow melts, Himalayan snow melts, and there will be a flood-like situation every year for many of the rivers. So for that particular rivers, the flood protection is required. So that flood protection, to design the different structures of flood protection, we require the study of hydrology. Then some water intake structures, there are water intake structure require to lift the water, to provide the water to the filtration purpose, etc. So those are the water intake structures. Then for wastewater, that is also we require the study of hydrology. So these are the important applications of hydrology. You can note down these particular applications. A small question will be there in the exam: what are the different applications related with the hydrology? So same thing. Now the surface water hydrology, that means the water related on the surface, over the surface. So what are the applications? Now these particular mainly the surface water hydrology we need here, that is the designing purpose of dam, reservoirs, or the drinking pipelines, etc., or it is related with the flood like situations, right? So all this is particularly the engineering applications of surface water hydrology. So we'll end with the discussion of today's hydrology part. Now, a small quiz, like we have 4 questions for quiz. So you can attempt the correct option. The first question is water occurs in nature in 3 phases, in 3 physical phases: solid, liquid, and gases, and is found. So the water is found in all these 3 phases. So only liquid phase, only in vapor phase, in liquid and vapor phase, and the fourth option in all phases. So the correct answer is, so it is found in all 3 phases in hydrocycle. So what is the percentage of fresh water on earth contained in rivers, streams, and lakes? So the correct answer is less than 1%. The energy to move hydrocycle comes from. So what is the major energy source? It is the solar energy. The transpiration of water takes place from. So transpiration is related with the vegetation, all types of vegetation plants. Transpiration is related with the vegetation cover. Now note down these 2 questions. Draw a schematic. So you have to draw a flow chart of a hydrocycle. So hydrocycle